our YouTube channel, Research Ready and Student Matters Hub by Doc Lynn. And I'm Doc Lynn. I'm here to guide you on your research and academic journey. Our topic for today is all about the benefits and limitations of quantitative approach. Are you now decided what approach you're going to use in your research project, whether it is quanti, quali, or mixed methods approach? I hope that you have watched our video number 5 and number 6 regarding that, and the links are posted below. If you wanted to know more about the benefits and limitations of quantitative approach with tips and examples, please watch the video till the end. Here are the quantitative approach benefits and limitations. I will also give you tips and examples of each benefits and limitations. Let us start with the benefits. Number 1, objectivity and rigor. Quantitative research provides a high level of objectivity because it uses a standardized measurement and statistical analysis, which will turn ensuring replicability and consistency in the research process. For example, merong isang pag-aaral tungkol sa epekto ng paggamit ng technology sa pag-aaral ng mga estudyante. Maaaring gumamit ng standardized surveys upang ma-measure yung oras na inaalat ng mga estudyante sa mga online activities at sa kanilang academic performance. Number 2 is generalizability. Through a large sample sizes and representative sampling methods, yung findings ng quantitative research can often be generalized to a larger population. This is important for making a broad inferences based on the collected data. Example, meron kang isang national survey tungkol sa paggamit ng social media. Pwede kang gumamit ng random sampling upang piliin yung mga representative sample ng mga respondents mo mula sa iba't ibang lugar sa bansa. Ano ba yung kahalagahan ng random sampling? Yung random sampling at malaking sample size ay magbibigay ng result na maaaring maggamit ng lahat dahil nag-consider ka ng population. Number 3 is precision and accuracy. It offers precise data collection na nag-aalaw para magkaroon ka ng accurate measurement ng variables mo. This can also facilitate detailed statistical analysis and hypothesis testing. For example, a quantitative research can be used to study the impact of different study habits on high school students' academic performance by surveying a large representative sample of, shall we say, 500 students. Precise data collection can use standardized questionnaire and academic records, which allows the accurate measurement of variables like the study hours and GPA or grade point average. After that, you can have a detailed statistical analysis and hypothesis testing which can determine the study habits if it significantly improve the academic performance. It can provide insights applicable for larger student population. Number 4 is efficiency. When you use quantitative research, it is often more time efficient compared with qualitative research, especially kung ang gagamitin mo ay surveys or secondary data analysis. Pwede mong i-handle yung large amount of data, and it's really very suitable for studying widespread trends and patterns, which cannot be done when you are using qualitative research. Comparability. When you're using quantitative research, inaalaw niya yung comparison between different groups, periods, or places which cannot be identified using a qualitative research. This is important for longitudinal studies that track changes over time. Example, there is a study about the changes of unemployment rate of different countries. Ang numerical data mula sa different countries ay pwedeng maaaring magkaroon ng direktang paghahambing para makita natin yung pagkakaiba at yung pagkakatulad ng trend ng unemployment. Let us now proceed with the limitations of quantitative research. Number 1, limited depth. Quantitative research may lack the depth and context kasi nagpo-focus lang siya sa numerical data kesa dun sa mga reasons or motivations behind it. it may not capture the complexity of human behavior and experiences. For example, sa isang survey tungkol sa satisfaction ng mga customers sa isang product, maaaring hindi maipaliwanag ng numerical ratings yung exact reason kung bakit masaya o hindi ang mga customer, which is very important. Ang mga numerical ratings ay maaaring kulang sa description ng in-depth na connection ng konteksto tungkol sa customer satisfaction. Ang pangalawa naman ay lack of flexibility. The structured nature of quantitative methods might limit the flexibility in data collection and analysis. It is really very difficult to alter or change the research design based on emerging findings during the study. Once you have the research questions, you have already a fixed research design and methodologies that you have to use, which is not done compared to qualitative research. Example, meron kang isang longitudinal study o yung tuloy-tuloy na pag-aaral at gumagamit ka ng standardized test para ma-measure mo yung academic achievement ng mga estudyante taon-taon. Hindi mo ito maaaring baguhin, lalo na yung format ng test, kahit na meron kang nakikita na mga pagbabagong pangangailangan. Compare mo sa qualitative research that when you are in the middle of your study, you can change the direction and your research questions based on the themes that you have get from the study. Number 3 is potential bias. The sampling methods or survey designs can introduce bias which might affect the validity of the results. Example, yung tinatawag nating respondent bias na po pwedeng maka-impact sa accuracy or self-reported data. Example, nagkanda ka ng isang online survey tungkol sa mga political preferences. So, pwedeng meron kang respondent bias kung ang mga nakuha mong respondents ay nagpapakita ng kanilang sagot base sa social desirability or kanila lamang kagustuhan. Number 4 is contextual insensitivity. Kasi ang quantitative research may not always consider the context in which the data was gathered, potentially leading to conclusion that do not take into account cultural, social, or environmental factors. Ang quantitative research might fail to answer the questions such why and how behind the data. For example, sa isang statistical analysis ng crime rate sa isang lugar, maaaring sa analysis na ito hindi maisama yung account ng social factors tulad ng poverty at inequality na po pwedeng maging source ng crime rates because it's not part of the study answering the why and how behind the data. Number 5 is resource intensive. Even though napaka-efficient ng paggamit ng quantitative research, the process of designing surveys, ensuring reliable and valid measurement instruments, and conducting statistical analysis can be time-consuming and resource-intensive. Plus the fact that if you are a quantitative researcher, it requires expertise in statistical methods and analysis. For example, you're going to conduct a meta-analysis of clinical trials para sa isang sakit. Maaaring nangangailangan ka ng malaking halaga at time at resources para makuha mo at ma-analyze mo yung results ng iyong mga data. How are we going to address the limitations of quantitative research? Most often than not, panel members are always asking about the complexity of the methodologies and methods you have used in your research, especially if you are focused on using quantitative research. The very common question is the validity of the findings. So let us address one by one the limitations and how are we going to address it. For example, limited depth of understanding. So my tip here is complement your quantitative data with qualitative data. You have to supplement your research with qualitative methods such interviews, focus groups, or open-ended survey questions to get a deeper insights. What will be the benefit of this? You can have a mixed methods approach which allows for a richer, more comprehensive understanding of your research topic you can combine numerical data with detailed contextual information. Number 2 is potential for bias in data collection. My tip, you have to use rigorous sampling techniques and validate instruments. Hindi mo sasabihin sa panel members na ito po yung aming respondents dahil sila lang yung mga available. O ito po yung aming sampling respondents kasi ito lang po yung kaya ng budget namin. Scientifically, when you are doing a research, you have to make a statistical analysis or treatment which will best fit your research study. You can employ random sampling methods to ensure that there is a representative of sample. Plus, you can validate your data so you can have a reliable measurement instruments. You might also conduct a pilot testing to refine your survey questions. Another is oversimplification of complex issues. My tip, incorporate multiple variables and multivariate analysis. By using multivariate analysis techniques such as regression or even factor analysis, makikita mo yung relationship between multiple variables and you can capture the complexity of the issues. Yung approach na to allows for a more nuanced analysis that can reveal underlying patterns and interactions between variables. In other words, you might focus using inferential statistics or analysis rather than focusing on descriptive statistics or analysis. Lastly will be difficulty in establishing causality. My tip, use experimental or longitudinal studies. Where possible, employ experimental designs with control groups and random assignment to establish causality. Alternatively, pwede ka rin gumamit ng longitudinal studies to track the changes over time. These designs might provide a stronger evidence for causal relationships, enhancing the robustness or the depth of your research findings. And that ends our discussion on quantitative approach benefits, limitations, tips, and examples. I hope that you learned something from this video. But before we end our video, sagutan muna natin ang learning assessment. Kung nakatulong sa iyo ang video na ito, please like, share, and subscribe para updated ka sa mga latest lesson videos. Also, don't forget to type your comments in comment section para malaman natin kung ano pa ang pwede nating i-discuss sa ating mga videos. Thanks for watching!